Greetings to everybody. Welcome to one and all. Today we will start with the second chapter from Talks on Gita by Vinobha Bhave. If you are here for the first time, Vinobha Bhave is a freedom fighter from the 1940s. And during his time in the jail, not because he made mistakes, because he was fighting for freedom, he was put in jail. At that time, he tried to explain Bhagavad Gita to his fellow freedom fighters in the jail, and they tried to spend the time correctly. As we are trying to understand the journey on the path, the journey, we are trying to understand different aspects of that so it can motivate us to take this journey forward. In the Narada Bhakti Sutras also, Sage Narada explains it very beautifully, comparing that a wave aspiring to become the ocean. He says the human being's deepest desire is to become one with the divine. Until that desire is fulfilled, whatever we have, however we are incomplete and haven't arrived at our fullest potential. And because of that, there is restlessness in us. And we all observe that in spite of good life, you have everything, but you are restless for something and we don't know what it is. So, the state of divinity represents that fullest potential, the ultimate possibility beyond which there is nothing. And in that state, there is complete fulfillment and contentment. Both fulfillment and contentment are complete. Rest of the time, we are discontent. We feel unfulfilled. We are longing. So, until that state is reached, life is incomplete. So, this incompleteness we try to fulfill, thinking that if I had a house, I'll be happy. If I had a car, I'm going to be happy. If I had a job, I'm going to be happy. If I have 5 crores, I'm going to be happy. But until this mergence happens, we are incomplete. And as long as we are incomplete, there is restlessness. And we already understood this concept that the desire belongs to the field of the matter, to the body. So when we are focused on the body and the matter world, we feel that longing for the opposite is in this union of the bodies in the matter field. So in the matter field, union of the bodies happens, but true fulfillment is not there in spite of the union of the bodies. So this longing for the ultimate, we are trying to fulfill. So by union of the body, that fulfillment is not there. And love transcends this physical, and love is in the energy field, where the mind is the active field. Mind is the instrument in this energy field. But still that mind carries the traces of the desire because it's close to the body. And the nature of the mind is fluid. So mind seeks fulfillment in the union of the minds. That's why with some people, you resonate with them because you are resonating with their mind field. And there is love. There may not be physical union, but there is love, and that is even stronger than the physical union. You can let go of the physical union person that you have, but when the mind is in love with the other mind, it is a stronger bond. That is the mergence of the mind. Because bodies unite in desire, minds unite in love. And beyond this Body and the mind is the field of the absolute, the soul. And the soul seeks for eternal longing for the union with the ultimate, nameless, formless entity. And this union happens with devotion. So desire is temporary, love is a little longer, because this union of the minds, when you disagree, even with the guide, sometimes you can go away. You can leave the master and leave. You love him. So love is little longer, but it is not eternal because it is bound. It is still has the traces of the desire, but devotion is eternal. And devotion is selfless, and because it's totally directed to him. And Guru Nanak Ji also expresses some thoughts where he says, when you set out to walk towards this destination, even the master cannot give you the truth, the ultimate. You have to walk towards that. You have to arrive at that state of truth. From the grace of the Guru, you can experience love. But truth, you have to find it yourself. Because for that, for truth, the ultimate to descend, you have to become deserving, for which you have to empty your inner house to let his presence in. So Guru's grace, the guide's grace can give us strength to the feet, but we have to walk the path. This is the thought Guru Nanak Ji gives. He says, Guru's grace can give strength to your feet. But if you just sit there, you don't reach. You have to walk the path. His compassion can offer us confidence and give us strength to carry on. But our persistent effort, without wavering, is needed to walk on the path. That is why we make efforts when we are reading the books, when we are trying to meditate. These are all our efforts, persistent efforts to deepen the understanding so that knowledge can keep our vision focused on the goal itself. So, in this third chapter of Karma Yoga, yoga of selfless and desireless action, Vinobha Bhave says, brothers, because he's addressing his fellow mates who are all brothers. Brothers, in the second chapter, we viewed the whole science of life. The third chapter provides further elaboration of that science. We had a look at the principles. Now we shall look into the details. In the last talk, Karma Yoga was discussed. Renunciation of the fruit of action is the thing of distinctive importance in Karma Yoga. The question then is, does any gain accrue to a Karma Yogi or not? The third chapter tells us that by renouncing the fruit, a Karma Yogi gains it in infinite measure. So, to show this example, he gives the story. What does it mean? Like by renouncing the fruit, a Karma Yogi gains the everything by giving up the fruit. So he says, here I am reminded of the story of Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the goddess of prosperity, and it is her Swayamvara. Swayamvara in ancient times is like where the bride's wedding is announced, and all the eligible bridegrooms come, and the bride gets to choose whom she wants to marry. So a whole lot of gods and demons had gathered at her Swayamvara with the hope of marrying her. Lakshmi had not announced any task for them. Coming to the court where they were seated, she declared that she would marry the one who was not coveting her, who is not coveting the money, the power of the money, because she represents that power of that wealth. But all of those assembled were desirous of marrying her. So their desire was predominant in them. So all of them were ruled out. Lakshmi then set forth in search of the one having no desire for her, somebody who doesn't desire the wealth and the money. She finally found Lord Vishnu lying serenely on the serpent. Serpent represents the carnal desires, who has mastered the carnal desires. So he has no desire in him. And she put the garland around his neck and has been sitting at his feet ever since. As the poet puts it, Lakshmi serves one who does not covet her. This is the beauty of it. So he is comparing this story with the idea of how a karma yogi gains infinity itself by renouncing the fruit of it. An ordinary man closely guards the fruit of his actions so that none else could have it. This is the difference. Like you can see this aspect of in the Revered Daji. In one of the speeches, I was totally shocked the way he was saying, where Babaji predicted there is a young boy that's born in the North India and that he will bring transformation in India and in the entire world. It was Daji himself. But very publicly, he says that he gives the credit to Prime Minister Modi very easily. He says, "You are the one, please bring change because you have the power in your hand." So that is a true karma yogi. They don't take the credit, they give it to others. So an ordinary man closely guards the fruit of his actions so that none else could have it. The difference between ordinary man is like, oh, I am doing this program. I am doing my sadhana. I am giving the sitting. The I is so focused on what we are doing and giving. Whereas for them, they're giving the credit to you completely. They have no attachment to that. But thereby an ordinary man closely guards the fruit of his action so that none else could have it. But thereby he loses infinite gains that could otherwise have been his. The man attached to worldly affairs toils a lot, but gets little in return. On the other hand, a karma yogi receives infinite gains with little effort. It is the difference in their mental attitude that makes the difference. Tolstoy has said, people talk a lot about Jesus' sacrifice, but the ordinary people toil much more than Jesus, carry much more burden, suffer much more. Were they to put in half the labor for the Lord, they would have become greater than Jesus. They're saying, instead of putting the efforts towards the Lord, they are toiling in the matter world, so there is no result. Worldly people put in arduous labor, but that is in the pursuit of petty gains. We get what we seek, as is the desire, so is the fruit. So when we work hard in the external world, we do earn money. There is nothing wrong. But here in the spiritual world, we keep working without even thinking what it is doing to us. We gain Him. The world will not pay more for our goods than the price that we ourselves mark on them. Sudama went to Lord Krishna. Sudama was Lord Krishna's childhood friend. Sudama went to Lord Krishna with the offering of a handful of parched rice. It might not have been worth a farthing, but to Sudama it was priceless because he was a poor Brahmin. He didn't even have any food to eat, had a lot of children. And so his wife suggests, your friend is the king and Lord Krishna himself. Why don't you go ask for help? He says, how do I go empty handed? So she, by begging alms and everything, she gathers a grip of rice and he takes it and he hesitates to give to the Lord. But Lord, in his generosity, takes it and starts to eat it. And as he ate 2 bites of it, Sudama gains entire wealth of the world. So this is the story from Lord Krishna's life. Because It had the stamp of his love, Sudama's love and devotion on them, which, as it were, has charged them with magical potency. So, what we give, if it is charged with the magical potency of love and devotion, you don't need to ask, you get infinity. A small, insignificant thing gains in value and potency when it is so charged. So, whatever we give, whether it is a fruit or a flower or whatever we have, if we give it with love and devotion, it is a different charge. What, after all, is a currency note? It is just a little piece of paper. If burnt, it would not warm up even a drop of water, but it has the stamp of the government on it, and that gives it value. This is the whole beauty of Karma Yoga. Action is like the currency note, stamped with sentiments, bhavana, and genuine feelings. It acquires value. In a sense, I am revealing here the secret of image worship. The idea of image worship is extremely charming. To begin with, an image is just a piece of stone. I put life into it. I poured my devotion into it. These feelings cannot be broken. A stone can be broken into pieces, but not the sentiments. The moment I withdraw my devotion from the image, it once again gets reduced to a mere stone, which can easily be broken into pieces. Action is like a stone or a piece of paper. My mother scribbled just 3 or 4 lines on a piece of paper and sent it to me. And another gentleman sent me a bundle of 50 pages. Now, which one has more value? The feelings expressed in the few lines from my mother are priceless, they are sacred. The other stuff cannot stand comparison with it. Action must be imbued with the warmth of feelings. So, any action here, this is what we need to learn from this sentence is any action we do, if it is imbued with the feeling of love and gratitude, it has some meaning. We assess a laborer's work and pay him wages accordingly. But when you offer something to your guru, it is with reverence and gratitude. But Guru Dakshina that you give is not like that. Water is sprinkled on it before it is given. The amount is not important. It is the sentiment of reverence behind it that is important. The touch of water is symbolic of the feelings in the heart of the host. There is a remarkable saying in Manusmriti. Manusmriti is the ancient text. Manu is supposed to be the first human. In those days, students used to stay with the master for 12 years. The guru would teach them, make them human beings in the true sense. Now, what should a student offer to the master? In those days, fees were not collected in advance. The student, after completion of his studies, was supposed to offer what he felt like giving and thought proper. Manu says, give the master a flower, a fan, a pair of sandals, or a pitch of water. Is this a joke? No, the point is, whatever is offered should be offered as a sign of reverence. A flower in itself has little weight, but charged with devotion, its value becomes immeasurable. The poet has sung the praise of Rukmini. Rukmini is supposed to be Lord Krishna's first wife. And another wife, out of jealousy, makes mistakes and tries to sell the Lord. But Rukmini comes into rescue by offering a leaf charged with love, and she puts it on the scale, and the scale matches. This is a story from ancient time. I will read that. Satyabhama and Rukmini, both queens of Lord Krishna, once had a dispute over who loves him the most. They thereupon decided to weigh him. Krishna sat on one of the pans of the balance, and Satyabhama put heaps of gold ornaments on the other pan, but they could not equal the Lord's weight. Rukmini then weighed the Lord against a tulasi leaf, but the leaf equaled the Lord's weight because it was put with lot of love and devotion. So the poet has sung the praise of Rukmini. She put in the scale a single leaf of the holy basil plant, which equaled the weight of Lord Krishna, while heaps of gold ornaments put by Satyabhama proved to be insufficient to weigh him, because the tulasi leaf put by Rukmini was full of devotion. It was no longer an ordinary leaf. It was a charged one. This is true of the actions of Karma Yogi too. That is why I was explaining about the power of the devotion, because it is in the field of the absolute, and only devotion can take us forward. Because a lot of times we don't understand that. We think desire is love. We think love is will take us forward, because love still has the weight of the desire. Only devotion will take us forward, and devotion creates that reverence inside the heart of the being. Suppose two persons have gone to bathe in the river Ganga. One of them says, "What after all is this river that people talk so much about? Combine 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen, and you will have water, which is the river." The other one says, "This great river emerged from the holy feet of the Lord Vishnu, and she dwelt in the matted hair of Lord Shiva. Thousands of seers, both ascetic and royal, have done penance on her banks. Countless holy acts have been performed on her side. Such is this sacred Mother Ganga." He takes a bath with these feelings in mind. The other fellow, for whom Ganga's water is just a compound of hydrogen and oxygen, also bathes in the water. Both get the benefit of the physical cleansing, but it is a petty benefit. Even a bullock can get this benefit. Dirt of the body will go. But how to wash out the taints of the mind? One gets the petty benefit of physical cleanliness. The other, in addition, gains the invaluable fruit of inward purity. And this is what Daji calls attitude. In everything, it is our attitude that makes the difference. One who just bathes in the water thinking that, oh, all my sins are gone, it's not going to happen. But when that internal reverence, so much that, oh, this holy water has emerged from the ultimate itself. And it is not that the water is purifying the inner consciousness, it is your thought with reverence and will is cleansing. And that is why heartfulness cleansing method is there. And this statement coincides, is along with Daji's thoughts, that it is the attitude in our actions. So even when we meditate, a lot of people, I am meditating, I am cleaning, I have done the journey so many times, so now I am there. You can move there. It is this immense attitude of humility, that state of surrender, that state of love, and that state of softness of our heart that makes us move into the next dimension. Otherwise, we are stuck. We can do the sadhana, like just dipping ourselves in this holy water. Your body will be cleansed. You can do the sadhana with not the right feeling, and you wonder why I'm not progressing. That's so we have to put that feeling in there, the feeling of respect, reverence, and love and devotion. A man doing Surya Namaskaras. He gives the explanation as a form of worshipping the sun god. It is also a well-known yogic exercise wherein body goes through different motion, thereby getting all-round physical exercise. So a man doing Surya Namaskars after bathing will certainly get the benefit of physical exercise. But if he is not doing them for the sake of health only, but as a form of worship, he will also have a sharp and radiant intellect in addition to a healthy body. He will get from the sun god vigor and creative energy. So this is how our ancestors practiced yoga. They put that feeling of reverence into everything. That's why Daji explains to us that they respected plants, they respected sun, they respected air. They gave the name of God to everything, whether it is sun or the air or the water. They put God, they call them God, because when they utilized it with such reverence, like if I'm drinking water like I'm drinking divinity, then it will heal my body. If I'm doing this yoga, that I'm worshipping the ultimate sun who is providing so much nourishment to me, that gratitude. Because I remember once my mother, she passed away, but in one of her spiritual conditions, she saw Lord Sun, and she says that she had so much gratitude and tears that he is burning himself. That's a state of being. It's not that she saw sun. So this is what Vinobha Bhave is saying, that we have to pay our gratitude to all the Panchabhutas. The Panchabhutas are helping us to exist. What are that is the five elements in the mundane world. The five elements of earth, ether, fire, water, and air. Our physical body consists of them, our energy body consists of them. And when those get affected, we lose balance in the physical body, we lose balance in our emotional field. So, what they did was, ancestor, we misinterpret as, oh, they're worshipping sun, they're worshipping moon, they're worshipping this. No, they were not worshipping. They had reverence and gratitude for anything that contributed to their well being. So, we will stop here and we will continue. So, today, when we meditate, let us have this immense attitude of reverence for life, for the ultimate, and a lot of gratitude in our hearts, and see what difference that it would make.